History is filled with incredible events that sound almost impossible, yet every one of them really happened. From forgotten disasters and legendary battles to mysterious explosions and unbelievable survival stories. These are 12 remarkable moments that changed history forever. The longest siege in recorded history lasted an unbelievable 21 years. Beginning in 1648, the Ottoman Empire laid siege to the fortified city of Candia on the island of Crete, then controlled by Venice. Both sides built massive fortifications, dug tunnels beneath the walls, and launched repeated assaults over more than 2 decades. Tens of thousands of soldiers and civilians lost their lives, but the city continued to resist. Finally, in 1669, after 21 years of fighting, Candia surrendered. Could you imagine living through a siege that lasted 21 years?
His ship was destroyed in Antarctica, but he brought every man home alive. In 1915, explorer Ernest Shackleton faced disaster when his ship, Endurance, became trapped in Antarctic sea ice and was eventually crushed, stranded in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The crew survived for months on drifting ice and remote islands. Shackleton then sailed more than 800 miles in a small lifeboat across the stormy Southern Ocean to seek help. After several rescue attempts, he returned for his men. Every member of the expedition survived. Do you think you could survive months in Antarctica with no way home?
A terrible smell was so powerful that it changed an entire city forever. In the summer of 1858, London faced a disaster unlike any other. The River Thames had become so polluted with human waste and industrial pollution that a horrifying odor spread across the city. The event became known as the Great Stink. The smell reached government buildings, making it difficult for members of Parliament to work. After years of ignoring the sewage crisis, officials were finally forced to take action. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette designed a massive sewer system that transformed London and became a model for modern cities. Can you believe a terrible smell helped create a cleaner modern city? During World War II, Britain built a bomb that literally bounced across water. In 1943, Britain launched Operation Chastise, one of the most daring air raids of World War II. The mission targeted heavily defended German dams that supplied water and electricity to key industrial areas. Flying at extremely low altitude, British bombers dropped a revolutionary, bouncing bomb that skipped across the water, avoided defensive barriers, and exploded beside the dam walls. 2 major dams were breached, causing severe flooding and temporarily disrupting German industry. Do you think this was one of the most ingenious military inventions of World War II? An entire prehistoric land disappeared beneath the sea, and most people have never heard of it. Thousands of years ago, Britain wasn't an island. It was connected to mainland Europe by a vast land known as Doggerland. Forests, rivers, and lakes covered the landscape, where people lived and hunted for thousands of years. As the last ice age ended, rising sea levels gradually flooded the region. Then, around 6200 BC, a massive underwater landslide off the coast of Norway triggered a huge tsunami that submerged much of the remaining land. Today, fishermen still recover ancient tools, animal bones, and even human remains from the floor of the North Sea. A single tree nearly triggered a military crisis between 2 nuclear-armed nations. In 1976, a single tree became the center of one of the Cold War's most dangerous confrontations. Inside the Korean demilitarized zone, American and South Korean soldiers were sent to cut down a poplar tree that blocked the view from a nearby observation post. North Korean soldiers arrived and attacked the group, killing 2 American officers. The United States responded with Operation Paul Bunyan, a massive show of force involving soldiers, aircraft, and naval support. The mission was to remove the tree, but it was also a message. The U.S. would not back down. The tree was cut down without another major clash, but the incident showed how a small dispute could bring the world closer to a Cold War crisis. The biggest asteroid explosion in recorded history left behind no crater. In 1908, a massive explosion rocked the remote forests of Siberia. The blast flattened more than 80 million trees across an area of over 2,000 square kilometers. Witnesses reported seeing a brilliant fireball streak across the sky before the explosion shook the ground, hundreds of kilometers away. But when scientists finally reached the site, they found something incredible. There was no impact crater. Today, scientists believe the Tunguska event was most likely caused by an asteroid that exploded in the atmosphere before reaching the ground. Thousands of soldiers invaded an island, only to discover there was nobody there. In 1943, Allied forces launched Operation Cottage, invading Kiska Island in Alaska's Aleutian Islands. More than 34,000 American and Canadian troops prepared for a fierce battle against Japanese defenders. But there was one shocking surprise. The Japanese had secretly evacuated the island weeks earlier under the cover of thick fog. Despite facing no enemy, the operation still resulted in over 300 Allied casualties caused by friendly fire, booby traps, accidents, and the harsh terrain. One winter was so cold, it changed the course of European history. In 1709, Europe was hit by one of the coldest winters ever recorded. Known as the Great Frost, temperatures fell so low that rivers, lakes, and even parts of the sea froze in many regions. Crops failed, livestock died, and food shortages spread across the continent. Many people lost their lives due to extreme cold, famine, and disease. The freezing conditions also affected armies and disrupted military campaigns during the Great Northern War. The Great Frost of 1709 remains one of the most devastating natural disasters in European history. One night at sea killed the heir to the English throne and pushed England into years of chaos. In 1120, England suffered one of the most shocking royal disasters in its history. A ship called the White Ship was carrying Prince William Adelin, the only legitimate son and heir of King Henry III, along with many nobles and officials. While crossing the English Channel, the ship struck rocks and sank. Almost everyone on board died, including the prince. Without a clear male heir, England entered a succession crisis that eventually led to a civil war known as the Anarchy. A single shipwreck changed the future of the English monarchy forever. Can you believe one disaster at sea changed an entire kingdom's future? A lack of bread helped bring down one of the world's oldest empires. In 1917, Russia was facing a devastating crisis. Years of World War I had caused food shortages, rising prices, and growing anger among ordinary people. In the city of Petrograd, thousands of workers and citizens took to the streets demanding bread and peace. The protests grew larger, and many soldiers refused to fire on the crowds. Within days, Tsar Nicholas II abdicated, ending more than 3 centuries of Romanov rule. The February Revolution became the first major event that transformed Russia in 1917. The last invasion of Great Britain lasted only 2 days and ended in surrender. In 1797, France launched what would become the last invasion of Great Britain. Around 1,400 French soldiers landed near Fishguard in Wales, hoping to spark a rebellion against British rule. But almost everything went wrong. The invasion force became disorganized, supplies ran short, and local British troops, militia, and civilians quickly organized a response. Just 2 days after landing, the French commander surrendered. The Battle of Fishguard marked the last successful landing by a foreign military force attempting to invade Great Britain.